Life is characterized by dynamic integration, give and take, receive and impart, all parts working together in harmony and growth. The traditional exclamation "L'chaim," to life, is more than an affirmation or blessing. It is the essence of our purpose and activates our ability to elevate the fallen, out of balance aspects of our world. The exodus from Egypt, the journey through Sinai, and the arrival in the land of Israel was more than the Israelites' historical release from bondage, but serves as a model of all healing, redemption, and homecoming, whether for the individual, humanity as a whole, and all spiritual elements which make up our world. Growth, harmony, life. Hello! Hey! While we all want to shine, to illuminate the world, the first step must always be self-awareness, knowing our place and our part in the process. The home is a place of internalization, where each can assemble or integrate his or her experience from the outside. The Mezuzah reminds us of this power. And so here we have a kosher Mezuzah scroll, of course, with the divine name Shekai written on the outside, and of course, on the inside, the two paragraphs of the Shema Yisrael prayer. But what you may or may not realize is that traditionally, on the back of many, many mezuzahs, we also have this divine name written, what's known as the 14-letter name, which is made of the letters which follow the names Hashem, Elokeinu, Hashem. Just in the same way that in the order of the alphabet, what follows the letter Yud is a Chaf. So here we see a Chaf. What follows the letter Hey is the letter Vav, etc. And our mystics teach us that this divine name is very much not only the secret of protection in the home, as is the Mezuzah, but is actually the secret of the concept of the revival of the dead, Techiyat HaMetim, and the mystery of the Matzah, and the whole concept of Exodus, and the return to the land of Israel. When teaching on Passover, the Kamarna Rebbe brings that this divine name is particularly known for its power to affect Techiyat HaMetim, or the revival of the dead, referring to the ancient Edomite kings which died, and that these three divine names are the numerical value of Lechem, Matzah, bread, and Matzah, 78 and 135 together. In Kabbalah and Chassidut, we see Matzah as reminding us of the importance of humility before others, in addition to our Creator, as well as a return to our source. Thus, Matzah is seen as the inner essence of all food, all sustenance. Our divine name and focus makes a connection between Matzah and Mezuzah. In the same way that the Mezuzah marks one's coming home, the Matzah represents a return to the basics. The text continues, Tal Techiyah, Tal melamala v'tal melamata, v'matzah be'emtza. The man, related to matzah, which fell for the Israelites in the desert, was packaged by dew, above it and below it. In Hebrew, dew is tal, tal above and tal below. This is certainly related to the enlivening dew at the time of the revival of the dead, as mentioned in the prophets. Interesting that on Shabbat Passover we read the Haftarah about the revival of the dead in Ezekiel. Far from some cheap horror movie, in the Kabbalah, the revival of the dead is about the end of separation, alienation of body and soul, unhealthy relationships,
territoriality, partisan politics, and environmental destruction.
In the Kabbalah, all understanding and models of healing and rectification involve integration, individual limbs working together within the system of the body, all individual people working within community. What's known as the state of tohu or chaos is characterized by hierarchy and imbalance, each spiritual energy attempting to rule over another.
This is related to the Kabbalistic understanding of the account of the 7 Edomite kings which died in the book of Genesis.
This is unlike the state of tikkun, or healing, which we are all striving towards, which is characterized by balance and harmony, each spiritual entity working with the other, giving and taking in balance.
The man, related to our matzah, is known to have miraculously been absorbed into the limbs of each person's body. This brought balance and well-being.
Of course, the Jewish people have been observing the Passover Seder from literally millennium, and at the time of the Mishkan and the Holy Temple, when we actually roasted the Paschal Lamb, we did so when it was folded up, so to speak, almost in a fetal position.
This fetal state, in Hebrew, ibur, in which all limbs come together, though contracted, is of the first stages in the process of maturation.
This is very much related to the idea of the Eruv in the laws of Shabbat, which defines outside space, characterized by wildness and diffusion, as opposed to unity, integration, and community.
Kabbalah also teaches how the traditional V'Avor prayer also affects a similar integration and elevation of the fallen.
And here you can see in the passage, which refers to the Mezuzah here by my thumb, the word Mezuzot, actually rearranging the letters, it can spell Zuz Mavet, which actually means death, be gone. In a sense, protecting us from the forces of darkness and imbalance.
Of course, the antithesis of life and cohesion.
The lesson continues teaching us that these divine names, which appear on the backside of the Mezuzah, also have the power to effect an elevation of the holy sparks of holiness which have fallen. In a sense, taking things from outside of the realm, from the realm of diffusion and disintegration, into the realm of the unified, the holy, the integrated. In the same way as one comes from outside to the inside of one's home. This conceptually is similar to the idea of the revival of the dead from a place of separation, as in from the soul and the body, to a level where everything is unified and alive.
And the revival of the dead certainly relates to the national revival of the Israelite nation today, separated from the four corners of the world to be brought together again in our homeland. Together meaning all tribes, all subcultures, each working together as various limbs of the body, a family coming home. Shechem, the gateway to the land of Israel, the first stop for both Abraham and Joshua, the valley of Tirzah, where the Jewish people entered the land of Israel, as mentioned in the Haftarah of Passover. Many challenges were and are faced on our way to our homeland.
In addition, the Kabbalah Rebbe brings that our divine name here also has the numerical value of the divine name Yud Gimel Resh, Machnia Klipot, which subjugates the negative spiritual forces. The Bnei Saschar in the book Agada Pirka brings that these divine names, which we find on the back of the Mezuzah, have the numerical value of 213, which is the same as the numerical value of those kings, Sichon and Og, which we understand as kind of having a lock on the gate to the land of Israel, which had to be subdued. And that this number 213 is the same numerical value of a special divine name, which is known for its powers of protection and subduing the forces of darkness. Yud Gimel Resh. So we see that in the inner worldview of Torah, all life and rectification begin with integration. Whether we see it in fetal development or in home and community, as we saw with the Mezuzah, and in the Eruv, the Shabbat boundaries. From dispersion to integration, the redemption from Egypt, the Pesach holiday, and all world healing is returned to our higher selves, individually and collectively, where all is arranged in balance and proper relationships. This year, when we eat the Matzah on Pesach, let's remember redemption from limited consciousness, and the man packaged by dew, taking us from a place of division and alienation to an awareness of unity and belonging. Happy Pesach. Spread the word.